Hi friends, today I invite you to weave a coaster for a mug with me. In this video, you'll learn the entire process of weaving a coaster from paper vine, with detailed explanations of each step and what materials and tools you'll need. This information will be useful for both beginner and advanced weaver. My name is Alina. You're watching the Weevyn channel. Don't forget to subscribe. Let's get started. You'll need 38 paper vine rods, 26 brown, 12 white. You can choose just one color. That's up to you. The paper vine should be moistened. Wrap it in a plastic bag to keep it from drying out. Leave the rod ends sticking out of the bag. They should stay dry. For how to properly moisten the rods, see a separate video on the channel. Here is what we'll need: a ruler, scissors, a bamboo skewer or knitting needle, polymer glue, cloth pins. Let's begin weaving. Take 4 paper vine rods. This will be your stakes. Lay them crosswise over each other. Press them down with your fingers to hold them in place. Take 2 more rods. These will be your weavers from now on. Connect them to make one longer weaver. On one rod, trim the twisted end at angle. On the other, make sure the opening is clean and round. Apply a drop of glue inside the opening and insert the angled tip of the second rod into it, twisting gently to secure. Be careful not to tear the opening. Gently press and pinch the splice point with your fingers to smooth it out. Now bend the newly joined weaver near the splice point to form a clamp shape. Press the bend to hold the shape. To start weaving, place this clamp over the first pair of stakes with the seam facing down. Make sure the clamp fits tightly around the stakes. Next, we'll begin pairing, also called the 2-rod weave. Take the bottom weaver and pass it over the next pair of stakes. Then take the top weaver and pass it under the same pair of stakes. This way, the 2 weavers wrap around each stake pair from both sides. Make sure your rows are tied. Loose weaving will distort the pattern. You can weave on a table, pressing the base against the surface to keep it steady, or in your hands, whichever is more comfortable. Check your cross base. It should stay aligned and even. Once you've wrapped the last pair of stakes, you've completed the first round. Now begin the second round by switching the order of the weavers. Bring the top weaver under the next pair of stakes, then bring the bottom one over. This adjustment helps create a clean transition and align the pattern nicely. Continue weaving the second round. Check to make sure there are 2 passes on each stake. Adjust your weaving if needed, so the rows lie snug and the stake stays straight. Start the third round by separating each pair of stakes into individual ones. Use your knitting needle or skewer to gently open space between the stakes. Continue with pairing. The bottom weaver goes over the first stake, and the top weaver goes under the same stake. Keep the weave tight as you continue around the base. Tip: it's best to weave on fabric or paper, which helps your work glide on the table surface and prevents the reverse side from getting scratched or worn. If your weavers become short, it's time to splice them. Mark the spot where the weaver will pass behind the stake using your fingernail. Trim the weaver's end at angle. Prepare a new rod by cutting off the end and applying glue inside. Insert the new weaver into the old one, twisting gently to secure it. Be sure to hide the splice behind the stake, so the transition is invisible from the front. Use a pin to mark the first stake. This will help you keep track of where each new round begins. For the fourth round, you'll start your first pass at this marked stake. All other stakes will already have 3 passes by this point. Keep weaving using pairing, alternating over and under with each weaver. Close the fourth round right before the marked stake. Continue closing each following round using the same rule. Finish before the first marked stake. Time to reinforce the base with new stakes. Take 4 new paper rods and cut each one in half, giving you 8 new stakes. Insert 1 new stake to the right of each existing stake. Flip the base upside down. Gently press and realign the weaving if needed to correct the shape or spacing. Turn the piece right side up. I've already completed the 5th round and started the 6th. Now let's finish weaving the 6th round together. We've reached the point where we'll close the 6th round. Switch the order of the weavers. And remember, always close each round just before the first marked stake with the pin. Separate the stake pair again and begin weaving around individual stakes. Use your knitting needle to help gently separate the stakes if needed. Continue pairing as usual. Your weavers may be getting short again. Mark the spot where they pass behind a stake with your fingernail. Trim their ends at angle, prepare new weavers, cut off the tip, apply glue inside, and splice them in with gentle twisting motion. Here is how the splicing should look. Then close the 7th round as usual. Continue with pairing, weaving the 8th round of the wave through. We splice the weavers and close the row just before the first marked stake, reversing the weaver order. This is the 9th round, and is the final round using brown paper vine. Next, we'll continue weaving with white rods. Trim the brown weavers the same way as for regular splicing. The trimmed ends should be spliced with white rods behind the first and second to last stakes. Take white rods, trim the tapered end, and apply glue. Splice them in behind the brown ends. Then close the 9th round. With the 10th round using pairing with white paper vine. Splice the white weavers as needed, following the usual steps. Close the 10th round in reverse order to maintain the pattern. We've finished the 10th round. Flip the coaster to see how the finished white row looks on the reverse side. Then flip it back to the right side. Attention! We are starting the 11th round using reverse pairing. Pay close attention to the position of the weavers. Until now, we placed the working rod over the other. Now we pass it under the other. Watch closely how I do it, and repeat. This creates a braid pattern. Splice the weavers if they become short, as usual. Continue this pattern until the end of the 11th round. To finish the 11th round without breaking the pattern, take the top weaver and pass it under the pass that goes over the first stake. Watch closely. Once you pass it through, the braid pattern repeats and the row is closed. Bring the weavers forward and place them over the first and second stakes. Attention! Round 12 will be woven using regular pairing. Pass the weaver over, not under, the other weaver. Splice the weavers as needed and continue weaving round 12 using regular pairing. We are approaching the end of round 12. Reverse the weaver order to close the round properly. Watch closely and repeat. Now the pattern lines up and the round is complete. We are starting round 13 with reverse and pairing. Remember, now the weaver goes under, not over the other. Watch how I do it and repeat. This will form the second braid, which should run parallel to the first one. Splice the weavers and continue weaving reverse pairing. Check the reverse side. The braid pattern should repeat. To close the 13th round. Pass the top weaver under the pass that goes over the first stake. Check closely. If done right, the pattern continues and the row closes neatly. Flip to the reverse side, trim the weavers, and tuck their ends into the weave. We've finished weaving. Now it's time to do the final border. The original stakes are now dry and short, so we'll remove them carefully to avoid damaging the weave. Trim each one neatly at its base. Here's what the base should look like before starting the border. We'll insert new stakes from the right side of the work. Take 16 moist paper rods and trim the tapered ends at an angle. Apply glue. Using your needle or skewer, gently open the weave to the right of each old stake and insert the new stake into the weave about 3/4 of an inch deep. I recommend inserting just 9 stakes at first. This is helpful if you are limited on workspace, since the stakes spread out like sun rays and take up space. This also helps save material. You'll be using the leftover parts of these stakes later. You can also insert all 16 at once if you prefer. Let's begin the border. I flip the coaster to the reverse side. I'll bend each stake from the left to right, so it covers the stop of the all-trimmed stake. To help visualize the pattern, I am using colored scraps as placeholders. Watch closely and it'll make sense. Take the first stake, bend it, and tuck it behind the second stake. Then bring it forward. Place the red placeholder behind the first stake. Next, take the second stake, bend it right, and tuck it behind the third stake, adding another red placeholder. Now take the third stake again, it's now in front, and tuck it behind the fourth stake, and also bend the third stake in that same direction. Lay both of them parallel and bring them forward. Trim the first stake so that only 1/4 of an inch remains visible past the fourth stake. Now take the second stake, which is in front. Wrap it around the front of this fourth stake, tuck it behind the fifth, and bring it forward. Now take the fourth stake, bend it right, and tuck it behind the fifth stake, bringing both ends forward. Trim the second stake so that it covers the stop of the old stake completely. Continue the same way for the remaining stakes. We've used up the inserted stakes. Hold the weave in place with the clothespin. Now let's insert more stakes and continue the border. We've inserted more stakes and continued the border weave. Only one upright stake remains. Be careful, this final step completes the pattern of the border. Take the leftmost rod, tuck it behind the first stake already in the weave, place it where the first red placeholder was, and bring it forward. Then take the last upright stake, bend it from behind and bring it forward as well. Trim it if needed. Again, take the leftmost rod, tuck it behind the second stake already in the weave, place it in the second red placeholder's position. Trim if necessary and bring it forward parallel to the already woven rod. Repeat once more for the final rod and red placeholder. If everything's done correctly, the border pattern will look consistent all the way around. Now give the entire piece a final check. Straighten any elements while the weave is still slightly moist. Tuck in anything that's sticking out. Your woven coaster is finished with clean pairing, reverse pairing, and a professional border.